guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk about Tamar Braxton's interview with Tamar Hall at the Tamar Hall TV show, where she said that she was not in an abusive relationship with her ex, David. Now, as you guys know, Tamar Braxton and David have been in a relationship for a while, ever since Tamar broke up with Vince, and things have been quite rocky. They were smooth for a while. We saw them traveling together, and it seemed like they really cared about each other. But suddenly, everything started to go downhill with Tamar accusing David of some things, and David accusing Tamar of other things. And David hinted that the relationship was abusive at some point. But the thing is, Tamar's family believe that David was the abusive one, and they don't think much of David. They had a lot to say recently on social media after Tamar's health scare. Well, it wasn't a health scare, it was more like, she threatened to take her own life and all of that. And it's like things have gotten worse, because now it seems as though Tamar is having conflicts with her own family to the extent that she unfollowed them, and the family seems to be very close. We saw them in their TV show. They're very close, but it seems as though this problem between her and David is coming between Tamar and her family, and she's feeling stressed out all over again, which nobody wants because of the scare that she had earlier this year. And Toni Braxton even went on social media and told David to keep her kids out of whatever is going on between her and Tamar. So she made it seem as though David was kind of abusive one way or another. But now with this interview with Tamar Hall, Tamar Braxton is saying that she was not in an abusive relationship with David. I don't know if she meant that she was not abusive in the relationship, or that the relationship had no abuse at all whatsoever. However, she kept saying over and over, I was not in an abusive relationship, or we were not in an abusive relationship. So how are people supposed to take everything that she has said, and her family as well have said about David? Because they've hinted many times that he was abusive. She continued to refer to a particular argument that David and Tamar had while they were in David's car, where Tamar said that David has a camera in his car, and his camera recorded what exactly happened, and there was no abuse taking place. However, David has hinted that he suffered abuse at the hands of Tamar. He even went as far as saying that after the argument between him and Tamar, he had to call his mom because he was just very, he did not use this exact word, but he seemed to say that he was just very disoriented from everything, that he had to call his mom, and it was kind of embarrassing for him. So he's really painted Tamar in a very negative light, to the extent that a lot of people are believing that Tamar may have been abusive in the relationship, because Tamar comes across as a very aggressive person, at least verbally. We've never seen her being particularly physically aggressive, but people tend to assume that she was physically aggressive towards David. The show that they filmed, the few episodes that people were able to watch of her show about her and David, did not paint Tamar in a positive light either. It really didn't paint any of them in a positive light. But in this interview with Tamar Hall, it seems as though Tamar is saying she was not in an abusive relationship, and I don't know why she would say that, because there's just so much drama around their relationship. This is almost another Meg versus Tori situation, where the stories are just confusing and convoluted and nobody's just being open about what's really going on. I think that if Tamar meant to say that she was not abusive to David, she needs to be clear about that and say exactly that, if that's what she means, because saying that the relationship was not abusive while David is singing a different tune, it's going to be like, okay, so you two are both in a relationship together. David believes he suffered some abuse, but Tamar is saying the relationship was not abusive. It does not look good on Tamar, because if one person sees abuse, the other person doesn't. The one that does not see abuse tends to come across as either being very unaware of how their actions affects other people, or as outright lying. And she doesn't want to come across that way. Another thing I wanted to say is that Tamar kept referring to the argument in the car. The fact of the matter is, just because something didn't happen in the car does not mean it didn't happen in the house or somewhere else. They traveled a lot. Who knows what happens while they're behind closed doors. So whatever happened in the car is just a few minutes of their relationship, of their time together. So that does not tell the whole story. So even if he releases the video, whatever is on there or not on there will not really exonerate Tamar or David. A lot of people would just think, well, we don't see everything that happened in you guys' relationship. This is just a clip while you guys were in a car for a few minutes. So that doesn't really tell people anything. So I think Tamar should be very clear about where she stands. I feel like a part of her wants to defend David, but a part of her is also trying to remove herself from the negative situation, and she can't have both, because we've seen this before. Megan tried to protect Tori. It ended up affecting her negatively, and Tori is now trying to quietly extricate himself from the situation and make her look bad. This is the same thing. It seems like the same thing is happening here with Tamar. Tamar is trying to protect David from attacks from her family, while she's also trying to smooth out whatever was said about her or about her relationship. And it's just, I see this getting really messy, and she just needs to be straight. And since she's already talking about it, she might as well just be straight and say exactly what she thinks, where she stands, and what happened, and all of that. That's all I have for this video. I wish Tamar the best, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.